Call the meeting to order at 7:30. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll go over the minutes of the meeting. November 21st meeting.
Oh, that's what they're printing out.
I couldn't remember Rich's email, and then I wanted to ask, do we have anything to give him when we reach out to him? Was my next question, because I was like, do we have, you know what I mean, like, what sort of, do we have any login or anything to the website? You know what I'm saying, or no?
What are you talking about, Rich's email?
To the web designer guy,
1635
Yeah.
website.
Oh, we'll go on and.
After we approve the minutes.
sorry, I'm just sorry, thinking
When it pops in your head. That's
Old business. I'm not sure.
No, it's gotta be called unfinished business according to the.
It's supposed to be old and new.
It's unfinished business.
unfinished business.
That's according to the Robert's rules.
official stuff.
It's not supposed to be old, like it's old, like we dug it out of somewhere. It's unfinished. So there you go. It's
Verbiage
not-
is important.
I changed it about 6 months ago. It's good.
It's Richard, it's always Richard.
Where are you?
Web designer.
Mm.
It's always Richard. Never Rich, Dick, or anything. It's Richard.
Okay.
Good to know.
Number 4, 78L. Chanting, second sentence. Town council stated that the preservation restriction was not open to interpretation. Section
Number 4.
unfinished business, 4, second sentence.
How you doing?
Am I putting it in, or are you talking about something to be fixed?
That was the most important part of his statement,
That it was valid?
that it was not open to
Oh.
interpretation.
Stated that the
So
preservation,
insert that.
town council stated that the preservation restricted is valid, it must be adhered to.
And is not open to interpretation. Being that it is not a recommendation. And it is an agreement for that house. It is not a recommendation. And a quote.
Thank you.
Going back to number 3,
You do one first? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Let's do this one first. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Number three, this is just a comment to everybody. If we start going out and finding the cost and so on, I have all the dimensions. I have the templates for the spinning wheel, for the thing. I have the templates for the little guy with the hat, the hat. And all instructions on how to build one of these things so that they look I went around and looked at about 10 of them and then kind of averaged what it looked like. And so if everybody uses the same one, the
That would be
dimensions.
for this meeting, because it was not part of the last meeting.
This is just, sorry,
That's okay.
just letting everybody know that if we're gonna go out and get a bid,
It's
you
not
get,
the meeting.
get the dimensions.
Any other changes to minutes of the meeting from last month? Somebody like to make a motion to accept them with corrections? Second, please?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report, Jan got a copy of I think it's in here, right, of the revised one. I cut and pasted something in the wrong place and I had a blank spot in my tables. I use a calculator to do the addition, I don't do it on paper, so the calculation is correct. Okay, so I picked up, so we've got our, all of the 2019 Wilkinson porta potty bills are paid, or are submitted. We're waiting for one to get paid from October, because that for some reason he didn't send that to me, or I lost it, one or the other, but so it got sent in late. And then I submitted today the invoice for all these things here, and it was $218.58. And I had a $10 coupon, and I had 10% off or something like this. It's all on the thing. So we got it. That's actually not a bad price. And as of today, then we have only $74.49 uncommitted money in the general fund. I applied these booklets to the general fund.
Okay.
They weren't archiving, so, yeah. But, just letting everybody know. And of that, 280 of that is for the porta potty for the spring. It's still in fiscal year 2020. And then the 218 unpaid, I get paid back for that. And then we'll have basically $75 left. Gifts and donations hasn't changed. We still have a $2,000 balance there. And the special fund hasn't changed either, so we have $34.56 and 67 cents. And with commitments taken into account, we have $5,531.76. And the town hall thinks we have $6,020.34 cents.
Okay, good.
They don't know about our commitments. Okay, that's the treasurer's report.
We hear a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I motion to accept treasurer's report.
Second,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, correspondence.
I sent an email to Tracy regarding the dog waste at the lower grade, and I have not gotten a response yet, so I resent it. And we'll see what happens.
The porta potty is gone, and I was just over there today. I didn't look to see if the bags are
Was
still there.
any offerings?
If there were any offerings, I didn't look. That didn't cross my mind. And I gotta put the lights on this week.
We got an email from, Martha
Is that the most recent one?
today.
Yeah, let's just send that down. Read that. Okay, this is from the town planner. This is in reference to 277 High Road. So our question today is, has the Historical Commission had any discussion, where was the previous?
Yeah, that's the,
Bottom.
yeah.
The planning board wants to know if we have any input about, this is going over the Barton Estate, talking about their, they're executing first refusal. And then planning board wanted to know if we had any comment, if we were coming to the meeting. And then Martha, the town planner, sent us a email today if the Historical Commission had any discussion on this and were we aware of any way which Mass Historical might be helpful given the town's right to first refusal on 277 High Road, only to the vacant land and not to the portion of the property that contains the house or in any structure. I don't see how Mass Historical can help with any of that. It just needs an immense amount of funding. And my impression from the selectmen is, what to understand with the town, there's no free cash and there's no interest in even working on this.
I went to the meeting and I
Yeah.
got up to talk and about 6 other people got up to talk. And somebody came up with an idea of maybe making a green cemetery down there. But the issue still is the $1.6 million you've got to come up with. But there was enough input that the selectmen decided not to take a vote. And they're gonna meet again on the 17th at 5 o'clock, I believe.
17th of December.
And then take,
Next.
yeah,
Next
leave us a
Tuesday.
week to come up with $1.6 million. But I think just so I get it right here.
They did.
Oh, that's crazy. 5:45, why would it be 45?
Police station.
Well, it's on the order of 5
Because they're
o'clock.
squeezing it in, that's why.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
Anyway,
they're having a public hearing that night.
yeah, for some reason I put down 5:45, so, on the 17th. And that couldn't have been a typo, I
Planning board.
Ron, have they
Or was
explored
that-
options like Greenbelt and stuff like that, or
Yeah,
would that work?
Yeah,
because
and
of
actually,
time?
there's a
whole thing
local ad hoc group getting together, trying to do some stuff. I've been in touch with them, and somebody from Greenbelt is gonna go talk to the town.
Good.
Sometime this week.
Mhm.
I know they don't have $1.6 million.
Most all these agencies want double the donation, so if it's 1.6, they want
Yeah.
double that with the gift.
Well, the idea would be you'd buy it, you would put all kinds of restrictions on it, and then if we did the green cemetery, then you'd offer a piece of it available for a green cemetery down the end. That would be on the far end near the Evergreen Cemetery. And then put it back up so that, but you'd still need $500,000 there. Because I don't think the Barton place, even with 3 acres, is gonna sell for more than $1.5 million. What can I say?
Yeah,
It doesn't look good. I was all hopped up on this for a while,
Yeah.
and it was pretty obvious that everything was a dead end. So even if we found somebody that came over and said, oh, I've got $2 million, I'll donate. They couldn't give it to the town, because the town, once they get to $2 million, they've gotta have a town meeting to spend the $2 million once they've got it. They could go to Greenbelt and give them $2 million to do it, something like
and,
that.
I mean, I know there's 2 or 3 different ways that Greenbelt does it. Now, the Pearson property down here, is Greenbelt, I donated to that, but Greenbelt owns that big field in the front.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to build houses on it. but it's just a restriction. You can't build anything on it. You know what I mean? Greenbelt doesn't do anything with it, or the
Yeah.
guy who lives there mows it and all that stuff, but you can't build on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what good that would do for the Barton house with all that land behind him.
Well, the only thing that's subject to, discussion on it really is because part of it is in a farming.
Right.
I forget what those numbers are.
Yeah,
So that's why she said in that, that it's,
61A.
it's just the 61A property that's up for refusal.
Right.
So that, still 1.6 for that chunk of land, that's,
Well, he's got, the word on the street is he's got an offer for the first 2 lots down by the cemetery of 800,000. So there's one mansion
A piece?
One, right. They'll
No,
double up the
no,
lots.
total for the 2.
So the guy
Make
wants.
so we
400
want-
feet, so somebody's gonna drop a house there,
Just
so there's one
from
mansion.
Cottage Road.
And then you've got 2 more lots there at about an acre apiece, moving toward Barton's. The thing is the property with the house and the barn is 57,000 square feet. He wanted to split that in half and put 2 houses on it, so in order to do that, he would have to have the lot next to it to move over into. He's gotta move the property line over, or the subdivision, if you wanna call it that. He's gotta break it up so he ends up with 80,000, or else go in front of the planning board or whatever and ask for a variance, which he would have, I think, a very large turnout at his meeting
so
for that variance.
correspondence back to the town planner. Make a motion, I will make a motion that the Historic Commission is not aware of any resources from the Mass Historical Commission as to 277 High Road. Is there any other comment we want to add to that? I see nothing. That's my motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
So the whole reason that all came up is because this John Protopopoulos sent an email. Well, it says John, so I'm going with what he wrote. And he wrote an email to Martha and CC'd us and said he spoke to the Mass Historic about the property, and they told him that any correspondence for them to get involved has to come through either POS or us. That's how we got pulled into the scent of it. And Martha responded and said that she had she's reached out to Essex County Greenbelt and the trustees. So, and then that's where this whole Mass Historical Commission thing, he must, because the only way he'd be involved in it is if it was to do with the house and the barn maybe, and That's not what they're talking
I
about.
don't understand how that got sidetracked on it. But irrelevant, it's not
because this
relevant.
person thought because it's historic property, meaning the entire property, but what they're really talking about
It's
is
just the land out
just the one
61B or
61
whatever it is.
in it. So that's how we got into it, if anybody's wondering how that sunk into our bailiwick.
And that is the property owner? That John? Who is this John?
John Protopopoulos.
No, isn't it
I don't know that.
Hero?
Heroes, I thought, bought it. It was-
And you
spoke
spoke
to
somebody from the area
He's
that,
gone.
probably down
Yeah,
in the area that was
I think so.
interested to see what's
See
gonna
what we can
happen
do
with
with
it,
it for-
was concerned.
Well,
He's
he's
probably a
got
neighbor or something down there. Maybe he's from on Cottage Road or something.
Oh, I know who he is. Yes. He does live on Cottage Road. Yes, it's not who I was thinking of, but yes.
So that explains it, because
Yes.
they're all concerned, and I don't blame them, because they're thinking of increased traffic patterns and
Change of
everything.
neighborhood.
Well, there's
Yeah.
5 wells going in too, right upstream from them.
Yep.
And 5 drain fields.
5 septic systems unless
or
it's
maybe
in a
4,
common
but
one.
enough bathrooms in that one for 2 houses.
So that's how we got involved, is
Alright,
this guy's concerned, and we all get that they're concerned about the property, but the piece that the board is talking about is not the house and the barn piece, it's
right,
the other remaining property, so unfortunately,
there's nothing.
nothing, we got nothing to grab onto here.
We'll be involved when
So.
he wants to put plastic siding on the house and move the barn.
Okay.
No, really?
Cross our fingers, that's still the case.
So, Eva had sent us an email about 277 and 105, and spoke about the scenic byway, so I gave you all a copy of that if you've not seen it before. It is very interesting to read about it.
Yeah,
I've
something
gone
else
over it before, but
in
it's
mind.
something about, for us to keep in mind about visual. So
I did mention that when I got up and spoke at the meeting on Tuesday. In fact, it's on the scenic byway. I don't think that has any teeth, though.
No, but it is something to keep in mind, and if we actually have we're very close to need something else to grab. It is part of the state's.
So when we're talking
scenic
about
byway,
a site on Route 1A,
Which, which is both 277 and the 105.
what state agency runs the scenic byway? National Scenic Byway Program.
Massachusetts Bay's program.
Defined by water, bordering the Atlantic.
The entire byway is located within the Essex National Heritage Area, designated by the US Congress in '96 to recognize the quantity and quality of the region's historic, cultural, and natural resources. So,
Essex National Heritage Commission. Essex National Heritage Commission. So is that a government agency?
I would probably committed, it was probably created because it's this thing in here from Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, there's things from the National Scenic Byways Program. So, again, I'm assuming it's gonna be something with Parks and Rec, so part of the interior.
Well, it'd just be nice to know where it all starts.
So Eva's gonna check to see.
Well, the day we need it, we need to know who administers these
Yeah.
wishes.
Yeah, I actually kind of, after I emailed you, thought it was dead in the water, so I didn't look at it again. But I'll find out who.
I mean, does it have a guideline, is it just one of these recommendation things? Or is there something we need to know about that if there's a house on Route 1A, or they're talking about building a modern structure on 1A, is there anything we need to know?
I thought it was more just to preserve what was already there. I don't know if that included building something that doesn't fit in. Like I said, once I thought it was dead, I could look at it again.
Who has the digital copy of this?
It's on,
Oh,
I
oh,
found it online
I'm
somewhere.
sure
could you email it to me?
I remember, I think you did, or else.
So it keeps right.
Well, I'm gonna send it on to that person that's trying to organize the neighborhood thing.
So it keeps referencing National Scenic Byway Program, and it had in dash their policy revised in 1995. So there is a policy. So we need to know a little more about that policy and if it's shall or will, shall or should, as to structures new and old on this byway. Now, is this the board that?
Essex National Heritage Area, otherwise known as Essex Heritage, was designated by the US Congress in 1996. That's the next to last page.
It says there's 7,200 properties on the National Register that are located in the area.
And it,
What?
and it
As a
ends at the
designated
point, Mount
management
Myron.
estimate,
Really?
the nonprofit
And it-
works closely with the National Parks System
So it
Service.
runs from Rockport to the top of Plum Island.
To Plum Island Point.
Next to last
Yep, in
page.
the report.
Yeah.
Then where you,
Essex National Heritage Area, on
I
the
got
middle of the page.
Yep.
Yeah, so. Shows
Now, I don't know if we can get a list of these historic resources listed along the byway, if it has to be.
Well, that'd be if there was a list of the 7,200 structures and they counted them. Then
Must be a
what
list.
structures in the town of Newbury are on this list of 7,200? And we should know what they are.
yeah,
So when we're talking about a structure on 1A and even going out to Plum Island.
Newbury High Road, 2 Commons, Upper Greens, Lower Green, original center of town, they're on it. Bartlett Mall, cemeteries. That's correct. So,
Well, maybe we can continue to research this, and if we get some crib notes maybe to keep in our binder that we just made as
Yeah.
how the structures, past and present, are affected on this byway in our town. Let's type them up so we understand it. And who do we call upon for guidance? Or who controls it, or where's the guidance come from? I mean, to an extreme, maybe when we do the DDB, if we ever refresh the DDB, maybe this scenic byways list, if we had a list for 1A and out to Plum Island, if these houses are on the scenic byway, then they should be affected by the DDB possibly.
well, that would be a good, like, instead of using A as the option in order to go in and do a review, that might be B, C, or D.
Yeah, so we add
Yeah,
E
it's on the
on
scenic
there.
byway, it's a designated building or structure on it, yeah.
So that would give it historically significant.
Yeah.
To start off with,
And it wouldn't have to meet the date criteria.
right? Okay,
I contacted the National Registry Director at the Mass Historical Commission, and she sent me a copy of our National Historic District notification of acceptance, et cetera,
Oh,
so,
cool. That means we can sign.
yeah.
Oh,
Fantastic.
So I only made a few of them.
so
You
was,
want a
I
copy?
read, I do not need one. So that acceptance letter, there's no descriptive with it, other than saying it's as,
That's because the packet of the district itself was sent into them, saying this is the Evergreen district.
right, shows, probably has a map and a list of the
It
houses.
contains all the information that was in that, Old Town New England article that we've been passing around for forever. So,
So, what the reason I'm asking is my father's dealing with talking about it in Hamilton, and they're trying to find the descriptive of the exactly of the houses and how detailed is the district. What in that district,
ours or just any in general?
well, ours, is there, is it?
I do have that.
Let me
I'll-
throw a thought in,
I've
thanks to
got it.
Carolyn. I had the registration number for the Newbury National Historic District and put it into their website. And down came the 56-page, which I downloaded, copy of the nomination
Yeah.
form for the Newbury. And exactly the specificity you're seeking is in the nomination form, including, somewhat oddly, 3 or 4 pages from Patterson Hale for the Custom House Marine, but what the hell? It's a matter of filing, I suppose, but the specificity is there. The map, which you mentioned, is there, both in very general, showing you where the town is, and then highly specific on properties as well. So everything you want is there.
And there's 2 of them actually that we're in.
Yeah, that's what you've got.
We're in that one, which is our district, but there was another one, I'm trying to think exactly, no, they named it, they phrased it, it's very long and mouthy, but it's things like this thick. I brought it in a long time ago, and it's all the houses in the whole, I believe it's like almost all of New England. And it goes into all the detail by house type of what houses are on the registry and all this and why and everything too. So I have that also electronically.
So, Alex, that was called what application?
It's called the nomination form, and
The number for that, we put in,
276.
upper green and
00
whatever, it was in
yeah.
Wikipedia. So we just put that in, and it had,
The registration number?
yes, it had that number.
And Carolyn
That's what-
found it, otherwise
That's what he looked it up.
I'd have just been thrashing around forever, but,
We do a lot of correction.
well, we all do.
So I
Right.
have both of them electronically.
Are you thinking to have Historic American Building Survey done in the 30s?
I'm sorry?
Are you thinking to have the Historic American
No, it's
Building
another-
Survey done in the 1930s?
It's got a very odd, the odd thing is on it.
And my father's been asking, because they're fighting about this now over the town hall, which they're restoring the town hall. And the question at hand is the interior of the town hall restricted as being part of the National Historic Register?
First period buildings of eastern Massachusetts.
1625.
It's NRTRA, as opposed to an NRDIS, which is a National Registry District. That's like this thick.
Uh-huh.
I have it electronically. All this stuff I've been throwing at you for years.
Well, now we've got a
Now
three-ring binder to
suddenly
put them
we're
in.
all worried about it.
Now, that National Park website is searchable,
Okay.
and that's, I mean, I had the number, so it's like wicked easy, bang, there it was. Came right up. I didn't remember your mentioning Allen, right, so we played with that as well.
So you looked at the nomination form up on the national parks?
Yeah.
National Parks website?
Yeah,
They should be getting a copy of the National Historic Registry, the Mass Historic Registry listings every year. We do.
Yes.
And
No, they've
the
got,
info's-
they've passed that. They-
No, but the info's in there that can forward you on also.
Okay, well, what they need to get is this nomination form. So our nomination form, which you have a copy of, should,
No, this isn't,
That's nothing on it.
that's not what you
That's
mentioned.
just the description, all the
so
description.
that's the
of
description.
Mhm, but it lists Newbury, it lists all the towns in it.
Hmm.
I do have that, I just don't have to.
I don't think I have it.
It's pretty hard to carry everything with, it's so much of it.
Yeah, I wasn't carrying nine.
But if you, yeah, because if you just go out to, the National Registry,
I don't think so.
you get, like, you get this information. And it's like National Registry District added 1976, Essex County 76000275, also known as the First Parish, Upper Green. It's 380 acres, 27 buildings, and 2 objects. And then it lists all the information on it. This is from 2015.
Yeah.
Not email. So,
One object is noise, the other one is.
oh, I sent this to everybody in September of 2015.
If you could just say so much stuff, you know?
So like, cause the Abrams house is also on it.
What do
And
you,
that was added in 1990.
What happened?
Abraham Adams House, 8 Pearson Drive.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's American.
And the Hale Boynton House.
so this, should we print copies of this?
You all have copies of this,
We all have copies of
many
this?
times
Yeah, it's in the
over.
DDB.
It's in your little, it's in your
Okay.
little pile of stuff that you
All
can.
right.
Jan's getting mad that we don't look at our papers.
Well, you weren't here, so you're excused.
Still-
You weren't here either, so you're excused. The rest of them are all sinking fast.
Yeah, only needs a big hole punch.
Remember we found that, that article in that magazine?
Old time?
Yeah, old time.
That's pretty much what that is. They pretty much, the same thing as plagiarized, but
Okay.
I copied the whole thing
Doesn't it
before.
have it?
That thing, everybody should have that because
And the author of that article, Bacon,
Margaret,
Madge or something like that, is the person who, for Spinia, as it was then, Historic New England as it is now, completed the nomination form for the district at the request of the Mass Historic Commission back in the bicentennial year, 76.
Mhm.
And, anyway, enough of that.
Good. All right, website. So, your question about the website?
My question was, because I wanted to email the guy, but then I was like, what am I gonna say to him other than we want your help? Like, do we have any sort of login or anything from
Yes.
before?
Lawn?
Because like that would be I would probably need to pass that along, so that was my only thing.
I think you should also say that your name was mentioned.
Right, no, of course, I'll reference it for sure, I just was like, I didn't wanna like email him and be like, I have nothing to give you. Cause I was like, what do I email him? So,
Could you help?
yeah, help,
Username and password for the
pulled your hair out
website.
of the ass.
yeah.
Yeah, that
It's
too.
been quite a while since.
For-
So I just wanna pass that information along to the gentleman we want to help us.
Oh.
But I didn't have anything to give him, so
Okay.
I didn't.
If it's still the same, I've got it, okay.
Alright, so can you email that to me
If our-
and then
if our
I'll do
computer
it.
guy didn't change it,
Great,
I think it's,
okay,
Yeah.
so send that to me and then
Yeah.
I'll send everybody along, but then I was like, I was thinking about that actually the other day. Right, I have that in my notes, for sure.
Probably what
Okay,
it's-
Lon, on number 3, the NHRD sign. Now you wanna talk about the signs that you
oh,
template,
oh, okay.
template.
Well, what do you want?
Yeah,
No, I'm
Number
just,
three.
just
Number
if,
three, bottom
if
of the
we're,
page.
if we're gonna go out and find somebody to build these things, when people want them, or refer them to,
You might wanna explain
they
what
should
you
have,
want.
they should have the, they should have the dimensions
Last meeting's.
and how to build it and the style, and I've got the templates for the, in a certain type, there's two different kinds. One kind has the guy with the hat on, and the other one has the spinning wheel, right? Okay, and I've got the templates for those. So, anyway, send them to me before you go out, otherwise there'll be different sizes, and that's what they'll come up with.
So we as a group need to vote on and adopt a final version.
Oh, okay. Why don't I'll email it out to everybody, and we can bring it up next
And then
meeting if
we
we have to
can,
vote on it. I don't have it with me.
I guess we'll have to look at them and then we'll have to come, then at the next meeting, we'll get it fine tuned down to one piece. And then approve it as
Two
the,
kinds. Some of the buildings have a text on them, and those are kind of rectangular, long this way.
Yeah.
And they've got the same kind of top, but they've got like a pilgrim, profile of a pilgrim on it. And then the other ones have the spinning wheel, and those tend to be horizontal like this, so you can write this way with the date and the name of the building, that kind of thing, and the date, the date. And then there's a third one that's on the first settlers' burial ground, and that's a sailboat, or probably the ship that came over, yeah. I've got that too. So I did I've got the picture, so you could use the templates. But we've only got one cemetery, so, but, and nowhere else have I seen that on any house signs. It's just that it's on the first settlers.
so all three versions have a dimensional item on the sign.
Yes, and how to build it and everything. I've got profiles and how the thing's cut and put together completely.
Be a sign maker's nightmare nowadays. They can't make it out of vinyl lettering, I don't know what they would
Well, I don't
do.
know why you couldn't use vinyl lettering, but I've got the font to use and everything. I got as close as I could to the ones that were on the buildings that I looked at. I've been around Raleigh and around Newbury and looked at ones that are on houses, and then came up with kind of a average. But they're all real similar.
Do we have a count on the most common one? Is there one of Newbury, that Newbury used that was,
The only one I know
The
that's
the
around
one
is
that
the one
I
Atkinson
picked
House.
is the most common.
Yeah.
It is. And then the other one, there aren't that many of the long text ones. I've got pictures of the ones that I use. I could make a little package for everybody.
yeah,
Sure.
another couple of months we'll tackle it.
Yeah.
We should have it approved. We should have it in the age of the computer, we can just go here, here's your packet. I mean, we'd have it right on the website is what we'd have.
What's interesting is the one for houses, you could build in 2 hours,
Okay,
real easy.
so I
The
wonder,
lettering is
in the historic district, if there's any guidelines on what the signs, the plaques are supposed to look like in our historic district? Or is there guidelines?
Just like the ones we see, right, the ones that they were gonna make, that Palmer group, wasn't the Palmer?
Those are free, but
Yeah.
but the house has to be on the National Historic Register.
But I'm just
Can't
thinking
be
that
just
like,
historic.
wouldn't those be like the,
Yeah, were those metal, the ones for the houses, or were
Yeah.
were
I
those?
think so, I think they're
Yeah,
all
they're
metal.
metal. I think they were brown or something or other, bronze, they were bronze.
Well,
But those were free, but
Joni's,
they have to be on the National Historic
Puritan's
Register.
house, I think, has the long one with the text. There's an example of it there. And then most of them are just the date, and if you had the name of the house.
Mhm. And they,
And that's all.
they made a lot of them for the 350th. Because Cause it said it right, I have the one from my house, and it was from the 350th,
And
so.
did the town hand them out, or did you have to ask for them,
I-
or you don't know?
I don't know, I wasn't around
Yeah,
then, so, but I do have the original one off my house,
Does yours, basically it's just a flat board with the roof,
roof on it.
and then something coming out a little bit to protect the rain, I guess, from the lettering or something like this.
I think
That's
that's what's
the real
on
simple
that
way.
house across the street from me too, which is.
And
I've got all the dimensions.
I took pictures of it and dimensions of it and gave it to you,
Oh, there you go, so that's probably one of the ones I used.
the system.
There you go.
The circle is getting
Yeah.
completed.
I just haven't looked at it in 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while, because I think we might have been at the town hall or something when we first looked at that, I swear.
We started getting
Does yours
letters,
have the
people
name of
wanted to
the
make
house?
them, and
Yeah.
they said, do you have any
Details.
description of them, and so I went out and
Thought we had.
picked up.
No, there's no details,
Okay.
but it did say about the, what tricentennial would have been,
Oh,
Tercentennial?
tercentennial?
Tercentennial,
Oh,
yeah,
I brought a template in life size and showed everybody what it looked like, remember? Yeah.
I do.
Held it up, yeah.
that one across the street,
I may have
Bill and
that.
Allen's house, they have one that's got shaped like that,
Yeah.
but it's got Oliver
What's that
Cromwell,
one,
blah, blah, blah. and it's
Atkinson
on
House, yeah.
it, right over the front door. They're
Very
pretty
well,
cool.
that's different again, because that doesn't have a lot of text on it, but it's, that's the kind that are sometimes,
Right, yeah,
sometimes
that
they make
was-
them longer.
Yes,
Which is
Yep.
good on them.
That's just simple.
Most of the houses have the one with the
Yeah.
spinning wheel.
1930, this one.
Not in Newbury.
That was
I
painted,
don't like
right?
spinning wheels,
Mm.
Not in Newbury.
I'm not voting for that
That's
one.
good.
Me neither.
That's gotta be
That would be
done
done.
since then, yeah.
Do your own one vote.
To go with the wood, to go with the mills, right? The bullet.
That's what most people have, so that's the common. one.
Women's work, all right?
Where?
Wherever I was when I was driving around taking pictures.
I don't recall
Yeah, this
seeing
one
any.
looks like
Maybe down more towards, Ipswich.
Salem?
Salem, maybe Salem.
They all seem to have like
Yeah.
those worlds.
Yeah.
Lawrence,
They
they
have
have
a
three
few of them,
mills
there's
there.
one at 36 Main Street has a plaque, the tavern over here has a plaque. See, it's right there.
Yeah, we gotta get
Well, no, but I'm just saying, they're not, obviously not.
Eyes aren't that good.
Not even my eyes are that
Just
good.
zoom in, just go
And
like
even
this.
that, the Vale, the Vale March Hill House has a thing on the front of it. So,
Joseph Perkins had one.
gigantic.
Are those Nebraska also? Let's see. Just see the, I recognize the house.
You can't see.
You can see, wow.
the next.
Oh, now I can see.
Yes, well,
So neat.
Very nice.
Does anybody else have anything else to go over before we look at a little bit of the DPV?
Negative.
Okay.
Let me make sure I got through all the correspondence,
Oh,
because
you
you
get
keep jumping
all the
around like a
correspondence?
jackrabbit.
Well, we haven't done the book.
Yeah, the book.
The book.
The book. So I went out on the web and pretty much, if you wanna buy a new one for like $85,
What are we buying?
For what?
That book.
Yes.
the
Oh,
book.
that, oh, the book.
I went up back to Amazon, cause it's not just Amazon selling it, they have sellers that. So I was looking at the paperbacks, which I'm assuming are those hard paperbacks
Yeah, like stiff.
as opposed to
Mhm.
those, which cost at least $45 each, if you can get more than one from a place. So they do have some, they have, they go from, I love how they do this stuff. They're used very good, which means that there's no marks, there's no anything.
There's no highlights in
Yeah,
there.
it's not highlighted, they're not dog-eared or any of that stuff, so, and there is a new one at Amazon, for, at $30 each, they have 10 of them. And, then whatever the tax is.
That's the soft or the hard paper.
Well, that's soft covered is probably the best way to say it, that's good, yeah, soft covered. better than paperbacks, because you think of this little tiny thing, paperback, but
So
this,
it's still same size.
yeah, they're still big, so. Other than that, they have a new one, and somebody else has new, but they only have one. So this is the only place I can find that has more than one copy.
They're
At a
all the
time.
same, yeah.
So otherwise, I have to go to 8 different websites
Yeah.
Yeah.
from Amazon, and every one of them's a different price.
Right.
Then they add shipping and tax, so the shipping's different, the tax is different, everything's, it's very.
Better to go to that site.
So, the one from Amazon that's new is $29.95, and they do have 10 copies of it.
Oh.
So, but I wasn't committing over $200 of my personal money, and we didn't want to do that, so
No, I think that's,
I'm waiting for a judgment call.
Which book is we all need a copy?
well, it's a good, well, we didn't know what the price was. I still don't think the price is
I'm
that
just wondering
unreasonable.
why we all need a copy.
Just a good reference book for
It's-
us
Really
to
good
have.
study guide,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to look at it, oh no, Nancy has it.
Nancy will never have it.
No, but it's lost in the hills somewhere at Eva's house, and it might take us a week to get it back, and we need it for this thing we're gonna find right now. That's what's gonna happen, I think we do have one at the schoolhouse, so
So maybe we,
we could, I swear we do, but I could be wrong. I know I've seen this book before, so.
so it's a good guide when appraising a house. And we have to walk in, we have to go through a house, and like 78 Elm, the discussion was the clapboards. So out comes the book, and it talks about the clapboards, and, it gave me what I needed to write the letter to the planning board. It gave me the information, it gave me
Yeah,
the
good
materials,
Yeah.
it gave me the joining, it talked about the spacing, and so on, that I needed then.
Mm.
So,
I'm not against it. I'll take your copy.
Job done.
So, I'll make a motion at the clerk's discretion, if she would please purchase between 5 and 7 of these books where she sees the pricing fit. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second on lawn, all in favor?
Votes. Okay.
Jane.
It didn't sound like 7 voices.
I,
There we go, there's
I
one.
do a head count.
I can't vote, right, I said yes to
I
it.
had to wait to see if there was some
Okay.
opposition.
Really has some interesting detail in there.
Okay, we're gonna do this question, where are we gonna put this, the gift fund, archiving? We can't put it in the general fund anymore, we only have $75, so.
Special
And-
account.
What's your recommendation, Ron, special account?
What is the special account supposed to be?
Special
What
account,
for?
yeah, it's under the archive, but,
It's, yep,
we've got enough
It could be,
in both, we
could
haven't,
be
we haven't used
educational.
any of the
it can come out of
donations.
either of them, but, and we should probably, yeah. Archival, it's special archival account, yeah, let's write it out of that.
Okay, just so when you file your expense report, use that number.
Okay. All right, Jan, or anyone else, do we have anything else under, before we go to DDB? Okay. For those of you who have your DDB books with you, to crack those open.
The new ones? The old ones?
So,
The little ones.
of all people, the one who created it, you can't find it.
Well, I've got what's in it,
Actually, Nancy created
but
it.
I couldn't find my book. I couldn't find it, so I printed it out.
Thank you.
Sue's copy. She gave me that and then you made me a copy, huh?
run a workshop for that. I can't figure out what's not there.
In the car. In the car.
Car's not big.
This is what they gave me, and I just keep it all in my same bag. That's what I have it. It's probably not organized correctly.
The name is?
No, this guy.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Now you know.
Yeah.
So if we can just, we're not gonna get through all this, I just wanna start this tonight.
Oh, Ian.
The actual beginning of the application process, just so we can, the application, that's what I wanna get started with tonight, is the application to the building department to demolish a structure. We're only getting from the building, because they've gone electronic with this permitting process now. So the last one or two demo permit applications have only been one page, and there was supposed to be a descriptive and pictures accompanying that, so we know what the structure is like. And I was trying to find what that application sheet looked like.
This one? One you're really wanting is the next page.
Yeah. So this is, but the electronic one isn't even this.
It's electronic.
So this is the old one then. So we're never gonna get this again. Well, this is really all, this is everything. So this is, yeah, so what we're calling page one, that doesn't matter anyhow. So it's all electronic. But what would be page two, supplementary application to demolish building. So, year building was constructed, address of building to be demolished, owner of record, reason for demolition, and please attach photos of each side of the structure and of each room within the structure, as well as the assessor's field card. Why did we think they were gonna be able to come up with the assessor's field card that easy?
It's right on the town website.
Yeah.
It's called the assessors. Click on the assessors.
Not that
So
it's
you-
accurate, but you're on there.
Well, it gives you the picture of the structure and the detail of the year of the house and all that. It's called a card because from the
Old fashioned.
old fashioned, they were cards. Excuse me.
So, why don't we have anything from the registry? Why didn't we ask for anything from the registry of deeds? To better give us,
Cause you have to go through the
Dates.
deeds all the way through, the registry doesn't, that's our job at this point. Or we have to ask them to do it. But you have to keep going, start now and you go all the way back.
Yeah.
It's very time consuming and very tedious, although very important.
well, I guess on a a building we were concerned about, I guess we'd have to do with that. So, you haven't talked to anybody in the building commissioner's office about getting these filled out?
It is filled out, they just didn't attach anything, if you're talking about 105. That
Okay.
form was attached, the one in your hand,
Okay,
handwritten attached, they give it to them handwritten, to hand do.
okay,
But the part that said please attach, nothing was attached because they didn't give them to Jen. And they didn't load it into when they were doing the permit request. So that's on us to say, we're putting it on
to
hold or
decline, because it's
decline it,
incomplete,
and it needs to get completed.
okay,
And then we put the information there and it gets supposedly forwarded to them.
okay,
And then I've been letting Jen know, about especially that one, because that's the only one we've had really since they went on Permit Link,
okay.
so.
And, so once they do that,
So they're not gonna get the demo until we approve. And we're not gonna approve until they give us the information that we ask for.
how's Permit Link know if we have, marked it incomplete?
Because we changed the,
Is it gonna show up on their
Designation.
side so that the building commissioner knows that it's incomplete? So it just doesn't time out on our, what is it, 14 days we have to do or 12 days to do the permit? To act on it and report back?
yeah, because everything is counted down in the system itself. And the flag, I think, turns different colors on that main screen.
So all right, so that's the next
So we
question.
did
How
the-
many days do we have? So everybody at the table understands what we're talking about. The next step is from the day the permit's taken out at the commissioner's office, we have X amount of days, and if we do not accept or deny the permit, it automatically defaults as a pass. And
It's basically just kind of a,
so I just wanna I wanna review.
15 days,
15 days?
No, this is, you guys are looking at the demolition delay. What he's talking about is the permit link itself,
oh, okay.
which is a whole different website thing that's done instead of, there's no paper, everything.
Mhm.
And, in fact, the contractors have to like upload their, like workers' comp information and all of that stuff it's all little pictures and it's all loaded in.
But that days amounts is
Yeah, but
what,
their
it
days
should be the
amounts
same.
is not out, because once we trigger, that's a different story.
No, I'm talking about how many days,
I think they give us 7 to 10 on that thing, on the permit link.
but it has to be the same as our DPP. So it is the same.
Because in one case, it's apples and oranges. We have to say that we're triggering the demolition delay bylaw, and then it's a whole different countdown.
Well, it should be the
Well,
15
we
days
did
then,
it
right?
Within 7 days of receiving the proposal for demolition, the building commission forwards to the historical commission. Within 15 days of receiving the proposal, the historic commission must determine if the structure being determined is significant.
Good, so
And then, if it is
So-
significant, you hold the public And then within 14 days of the final hearing, the commission must now determine whether the structure is preferably preserved.
So, okay, so this, everybody on this page, sequence of events in your 3-ring binder.
Don't have to remember.
It might look, it might look like pretty colors on some of them.
Yeah.
Here, I got, oh,
There's more than one page and these things.
It's got the people's heads on it, it says significant, sequence of events.
I'm walking through the process.
Next.
Here.
Oh, all right.
Cool. Thank you, man.
The front thing is a cheat sheet,
Oh, okay.
and then if you flip over, you'll see that this is now the actual bylaw.
Okay.
Do you need one, Lon?
Oh, sure.
Nancy has some.
Thanks, Nance. Thanks, Jim.
What is this? Say what I had.
You have
No.
Here, I'm stealing yours.
Yeah.
Okay, so the sequence of events, so everybody understands it doesn't add 7 days, then 15 days later. It is 7 days, and then it goes back to the start, so it's 15 days from the start, not from number 1 to number 2. It's
So
15
we don't
from the
have
start.
15 days, we have 7 days. Correct?
No,
No, we have
it
15.
says 15.
So
You have 15 days to do number 3.
we have 15 days to get to number 3, and the commissioner has up to 7 days to get it to us. So we have 8 days theoretically from his deadline. But these permits are now electronic, so they come up quickly as fast as she loads them in. And then we get, Jan, do we automatically get an email?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not what it says.
No, it doesn't say that. We get 15
15
days
days after we get it,
when we get it, from the time we get it, right?
right.
Days of receiving. Yeah,
Right,
right, sure.
Are you looking at the right one, Janet? Because
Yeah,
yours
that's
looks
right.
different than
Yeah, it
this
does
one.
look different.
within 15
No.
days of receiving.
Number 1 is receiving the proposal,
Right. That's the building inspector, would that be?
Yeah. just like if you read number 2, within 7 days of receiving the proposal. And number 3 is within 15 days of receiving the proposal. It's not us receiving it, it's the 15.
Okay, so it is 15 on
Yeah,
top of the
just what
7.
Shannon said. No, it's 15 total.
No,
No,
it's not how it
15
reads.
on top.
That's,
Yeah,
you can
I
have,
don't know what it means, now that you say it that way.
Well, you, read it out loud. The
Oh,
property
you're right,
owner
you're right.
files
He's right.
the 7 days of receiving the building commissioner forwards to
Historical
historical.
Commission.
Within
Historic
15
must be
days
right.
of historical commission receiving, it's that, so we have 15 days when Sam or whoever sends it to us.
Okay.
Yep, we should reword
Once you
that.
get it,
It's
you
still
can-
Yeah,
confusing.
it could be read either way, you're right.
Because there's a comma that separates the receiving and the historical commission.
Okay. So if he gets it to us within a day, then it's 15 and.
We still only have 15 days.
Yep.
We don't get, we don't have 21.
So, and I'll double check with Janet on the permit link to see exactly what the timelines are on the system. To make sure that we get it, it gets sent to us within 7 days of their receipt. And then we have 15 days to review.
Okay. So we have a 15-day review period. Okay. All
still think we only get 15 days from the time it's submitted.
But if he sits on it for 7, that gives us 8 days.
I don't know if that's something
That's
Chris,
not what it says.
Yeah, depends on how you read it.
Yeah, we're not,
Number 2 says
once we
within
get it,
7
then we
days
have
of
15
receiving the
days.
proposal.
Right.
Number 3 says within
Yeah.
15 days of receiving the proposal.
22
It doesn't
Yes.
say within
From
15
the
days
time
of
the
the historic
property owner
receiving the
submits.
proposal.
yes,
That
Right.
should be, if
property
that's the way
owner
it
wants
is,
us to do it sooner,
should
he's gotta
insert the
light a
historic
fire under people's butts, you know what I
commission
mean?
in receiving the proposal.
Like to say, you're saying like
As I
the
read
building
this,
guy to get it
it
to us.
refers back
Kinda
to us
changed
receiving
it.
the
It's
proposal.
what-
Prepositional phrase, so the historical commission must determine within 15 days of reading the proposal. It's a prepositional phrase.
Hmm.
The comma is in there.
Yeah.
To suggest, to signify that it's the historical commission we're now talking about. So if you rewrote the sentence, it would say the historical commission must determine within 15 days of receiving the proposal.
That's one way of interpreting it.
Well, the way to interpret it permanently is to see what the actual wording says in the bylaw.
There you go. Actually,
That would be my next suggestion.
yeah.
So the actual bylaw says,
I got 2 copies, 2 different proposed
you've
bylaw
got an
copies.
ancient thing in front of you there.
So,
How old is that
It's
thing?
all my notes.
It's like, do you have is that the Crane?
Yeah.
The
It's
Crane is the
800.
last version. The version before that
And
was
it's
the
clear in
blueprints.
4.2. Commission shall, within 15 days after receipt of the application, make a written determination whether the structure is italicized significant, right, Eva?
That's what I would.
We don't know who's.
4.2.
Commission would then have 15 days to determine whether or not the structure is
Still-
significant.
Says that it's still included.
No, it isn't, not unless you're really fighting.
No.
Well, it
The
doesn't,
commission will have
Well, the
after
lawyer and-
receipt
After receipt,
But
from
it
the
doesn't-
building commissioner.
Then we should put that in.
It says it.
Where at?
The building commissioner shall within 70 days forward a copy to the historical commission. The commission, which is us, shall within 15 days after receipt,
After they receive it.
yes.
That's how you're reading it.
after receipt of the application.
If I was a
How else
lawyer,
would
I
you-
would say after the building commissioner receives it.
No, it's not what it says.
Okay.
What's the time?
All we have to do is
Yeah.
insert historic
I
commission.
don't see a time
Receives
frame
it.
on the
It's at
public
That's all I'm
meetings and
saying.
stuff like that.
Make it absolutely clear.
Right, but see, I'm looking at the next one. One
It says that wrong.
It does, 14 days.
Probably
Then it
drafted.
says that you have to have more public hearings, but I don't see a time frame.
I
You
can't
know
remember
what I
last
mean?
time.
But it's not in there.
I mean,
What's that, Phil?
14
Jelly.
days here. That's not a
You
whole
did
heck of
one
a lot
left.
of time to get
I didn't
everything
realize it was
organized.
jelly.
Yeah.
Make it more delicious.
So one of the things that was doing before is watching for sales of houses. You know, in the paper, it shows properties sold,
Right.
to see if any of them are old, what we're considering. Because then it's possible that it might come up,
Yeah.
so.
Pay
the place
attention
to
to
watch for that's the Conservation Commission agenda too. That's where I'm finding all
How much time?
because in order to do any of this work on any of these buildings, they have to
That's it.
go to Conservation Commission. That's where I've been spotting all the demolition.
Original organized, you got-
Well, that's because the Conservation Commission has to be involved in practically every single thing that happens on Lavinas.
We changed this.
If we just had.
And when I bought our house,
But
within a
not
week, I had a contractor
Post one within the next.
working on it.
Right.
Within a week, I had a
Changed it,
contractor.
you know,
Yeah, the island's a little different.
No, I
Sent
just
it
meant
to
for
the meeting.
It's a still
To change it.
your idea of drafting this.
We'll find it online.
Because as soon as they get the house,
Once it's
they
official,
put
it's
two
sold.
things to it before they move in or.
We
They
did
have
that.
to see what's looking for it.
Right.
They're not supposed to.
Right.
That way.
Sometimes we get
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
when they're doing it.
at first, see if we do this later.
One or more.
Yeah, one of them is.
Yeah.
So, that says 14
Well,
days.
I can see it both ways.
It's the West Coast property days.
One is yours,
Yeah, that's what it was on the left.
well, one of them is sold.
Oh, no wonder it's taken.
I mean, you can tell they put a lot of money.
The rest of
Let's
it.
decide what
It's a chairperson.
You get 50 days.
Sparkles next to me.
Time they receive.
It's getting all over.
My point is,
My dad
if
would
this
say,
happened, like,
What?
let's say she
Yeah,
was
yeah,
someone,
you don't.
you know, that comes through and says,
No, I was looking to see if there was anything else written about the 7 days that the inspector has.
So can I ask you a question? Let's say we just had a meeting, we're not having another one for another 30 days. And something comes up on that site that you both go to, that said this guy wants to demolish his whatever. And so the building inspector has 7 days to bring it to us, right? So that's 1 week, and then we have 2 weeks to find out if it's significant. But we won't even be meeting. That's crazy.
We've had to do it before we convened a special, went to convene a special.
Just on that one, and then.
We have to announce
Okay,
it.
so you, right,
in
well, I mean,
advance.
no, it says
So we
within
lose 2 more
14
days.
days, you have to
We
find
don't.
out if it's significant, and then
Because it doesn't take you to.
there's another one,
It's,
No,
We can't meet.
I'm gonna interrupt you
You
one.
can't meet
Yeah.
and talk to it.
Lon,
Before you make a
with-
significant determination, then you're into meetings.
No.
and that's when we go to a hearing, that's not a meeting.
so that's public hearing.
So this
So we need
is
a
between
resolution.
step 1 and
To task the
Step
chair
4, looks like step 4 is when you have the public meeting, you have to.
step 4 is the public.
to respond once notified.
So we would, let me just say this, would we have to meet? Say in 2 weeks, say we find out tomorrow, within 2 weeks, we would have to have a
The
special
chair.
meeting, just us,
To work
to
immediately.
decide whether we should,
Approve
it's
it.
a
Yeah.
significant
Oh,
structure.
2 of us can.
Then you have to post a public meeting within 14 days of that?
Just gotta make
Number
decisions,
4.
and we have to discuss
That's what
it
it was.
in public.
Must hold one or
Yeah.
more public hearings, that looks like that's within 14 days.
So once we call it a significant structure, the
Right.
process
And that would be a
begins.
special meeting if we weren't meeting anyway.
And then we go on to just determining after the 1 or 2 hearings, whether it is preferably preserved or not.
Now, when you say public hearing, is that before the Board of Selectmen, or is that just us?
That's just us.
That's just us, but it has to be public, it has to be
Yes.
Yes.
listed that we're gonna talk about
read
that.
4.6A, publishing of time that you're doing the paper and all that
Okay,
stuff, yeah.
yep.
So next meeting, we're gonna start off with determination of significant structure.
That makes sense.
So we have the sheets, significant criteria 1.9, the eligibility sheets. So we'll start to go over that while we're fresh in our heads. So we'll start off with significant structures at next meeting.
Can I ask who made those rules? Was it you guys who said the 7 days and the 14 days, or was that a town thing? They give
The
you the.
demolition delay bylaw was
So that-
created by the Historic
Okay.
Commission at
But
the
it-
request of the Board of Selectmen.
Yes.
Yes, but, I mean, we followed the state guidelines.
Okay, so that's
And
what the
they-
norm is?
Yeah, and they
Yes.
went through
Closely.
a lot of other cities and towns to see what they had for like
Yeah.
days and
Okay, yeah,
years and things like
We
that too.
spent 5 years doing it, and we collected all the surrounding and went to meetings
Took the average.
and did the average.
Okay.
And now our DDB is considered some of the least
Leanest, yeah.
leanest
Yeah.
in the county.
I know.
Probably because everybody else that started out having something like 50 days or you know, 6 months or something like that, found out after 2 trial balloons came through that it wasn't sufficient time.
Right,
And we even talked about going to 12 instead of 9 if we wouldn't get it through. And then we also, our buildings are, it doesn't kick in automatically until
Right.
1824.
You know, not
And we
only,
should be
not
way,
only the 9 or 12 month delay, but the process seems a little speedy to me. You know, 14 days for this, 7
Yeah.
days for that, it's like, I mean, this is a volunteer board.
Yeah.
It's people who have,
well, and
jobs,
and
it's
it's a
not like
public
it's our
board,
job.
and so we can't meet to discuss in private.
exactly,
So
exactly.
3 of us can't get together, 4 of us get together and work around the table.
Yep.
We've got to announce the meeting and. it has to
But
be open to the
in
public.
the same sense, the homeowner is entitled to due process at the
True.
same time.
Yeah, he doesn't want to wait for an agreement. Yeah.
So is this, a bylaw online?
It's on
Is
the
it
town
online? Yeah.
website.
That works.
And it's on the website?
This is what it looks like,
Oh, all right. May I see it?
absolutely.
Now that I took it.
What is that?
The actual bylaw that's on the town website,
Okay,
I haven't looked at it, so
because
I,
it had to have been, it was approved, obviously,
Maybe
in
there's a-
town meeting.
right,
maybe there's a clearer definition between the 7 and 15, step 1.
It's actually
In
the
there.
same thing,
it's gonna be the same thing as what was passed at town
we
meeting.
gave them the proposed
This-
demolition bylaw,
And they just wrote it up,
Yeah.
exactly the way
But
it
then-
was.
and then
But
we
is
had to
there, is
wait
there
for
any
it.
more clarity to it? Because I mean, it's only
Exactly
one's
the same thing.
exactly the same thing,
Do you wanna
as
look at it?
proposed.
Seriously, do you want, I mean,
Is
I
that a
can pull,
copy? I don't have, all I
it's right
have is,
there on the old town website, I can
I've
pull it
got-
up anything.
I've got 2 copies of the proposed.
I don't know, it might be so hard.
Okay.
Just to mention that Martha Taylor, the town planner, those of you who don't know, and our, lawyer, legal
Town
representative,
council.
thank you, this is the word I forgot, I did my brain for a minute, suggested that we up this and change the years, not to, only up to 1820.
Like to 1900 at least, or
Well, a lot of cities and towns have them that say 70 years old or
To whatever-
80 years old.
Yeah,
so
in other
exactly.
words, it just keeps moving
Moving up.
forward. We're stuck into 1635 to 1820. We have a lot of houses that are 1825, 1830. So then we're back to those other significant,
Yeah.
you know, do they
The
trigger
Washington
something
State
else?
Fair, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's something to think about. They think, and I think because so many things have gone on since, think about, we did this, right after One Little Lane and the Bushy Estate.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we have 105 High and 277, and people getting more and more like our town is gonna become a
Big
cookie
mansions.
cutter
Mm.
mansion gated community place instead of the rural pastoral town it should stay.
There is no rural pastoral left in New.
My point is I think this the
That's
demolition delay is pretty much extinct at this point. Every house has been processed, or it's
So
protected at this point. So I don't know, with the movement of Metropolis coming here by the day, I don't think there's gonna be any more, I don't know, maybe you know of other houses, but I don't think there's that many more houses left that haven't been bought and
like Bushby's and
redone.
have it be
I don't think there's any more Bushies, I don't think there's any more 77s. 105 doesn't apply because it's already been through the grinder once. I don't know.
280 was pretty original before Steve, what's the last name, I bought it.
Kenny's.
Yeah,
It was, but
Yeah.
probably not anymore.
when they went through the inside and took all the rooms out, opened it all up.
I think maybe part of the question should be,
It had a
if we're more about, at this point, trying to preserve street value, scenic byway, but everywhere, you know, to keep the look of our town, as opposed to worrying about if anybody removed molding inside of it or changed.
That's a whole direction of the group, I don't know that, I mean, the scenic byway of the town is partially historical, but it's also considerably town plan. The future, what's the thing they study every 3 years? Master plan,
Master plan.
that's master plan.
No, I don't mean it technically that, I mean, when we went to that thing, was it in Ipswich? And, instead of having like historic districts, they have they have a different name, it's like a modified.
Yeah.
And, it's to preserve the visual. If you need to add on to the back of the house, or you wanna do something to the back of the house, it can't be seen from the street.
Yeah.
So it keeps the same look. And I think some of these houses, Kenny's is probably good, it still looks like it did.
Yeah, they didn't like chop up the property and then develop the
So, I
6
mean,
acres
it's like
on it.
But we
That's
you know,
discussed that
The
when
house
the
might
plan
still
came
be
in, that's behind the
18,
house.
Yeah.
20, but the inside of it no longer is, maybe. But, so is that a defining factor on the demolition? If, you know, like say Kenny's sold their house and someone else buys it
Yeah.
and wants to tear it down. Well, the inside may not be completely preserved to the way it was, but the outside has remained true to character. So does that trigger? I guess that's a question.
They even put the wooden gutters around,
Yeah.
and the roof gutters are wood. I mean, not the Kenny's, people before them. And actually, I think they did too when they put it in
Well,
the back.
Rebecca,
and they put the
Rebecca would
gutters.
know everything because she did the design.
I was there today,
Did they use the wood when they
I
did
believe
theirs?
so, yeah.
I know Adele did in the front of the house when they did it.
So I guess that's what I meant by the scenic byway, not literally the scenic
This
byway.
is what we
but-
did. All of the addition we put in was in the back, behind the house. The deck
And I
and
know like the guy,
pantry.
the person that bought the Barry house, or the pumpkin house, as we always seem to call it,
Yeah.
wants to restore it back
Yeah,
to its original character.
on the
So,
inside,
I wonder
Yeah.
how he's gonna do that.
It's got a
because
book.
they've got tons of
I
material.
know, but that was redone in the 70s. And then the
No,
people,
oh, well, okay,
and
yeah.
then the people who, and it was,
Which house is
because
that?
I looked at the
Pumpkin
house,
River?
we looked
Oh,
at the
orange.
house.
Okay.
And,
They redid it about 5 years ago.
I know, they
Changed
must
it
have
considerably.
So what was the original color? No color?
White.
Was it white? Yeah.
Probably.
Well, most
Back
houses
then it was
Yeah.
pumpkin.
white,
but it's been orange since they redid it in
Yeah.
the 70s. So we always call it the pumpkin, kids always call it the pumpkin.
because it does look like a giant pumpkin when you're coming along. But, so I guess, I mean,
Right.
that's my question, not,
Mm.
you know, so are we changing, can we change the year to go later and say like anything within, 100 years?
Of today's date, like is that how you would
Of
do it?
like now, it's anything that's 100 years or older, so to speak. We need to think
I-
about things now.
I mean, we could continue to discuss it, but I think with what Linda Smiley told us from Newburyport is the success rate to these stories is extremely low.
Well, yeah,
And everything where it's been running into the last couple of years, people are asking us about saving this and saving this. It's like, well, somebody has to have a trunk full of money. This is a mission that we can delay this for 9 months, but it's gonna be only 1 in every 100 that somebody can come up with the money to save it. Or money in a plan. Either, it's the only time we're gonna have the leverage to say anything is if it's a development. Then that's part of the bargaining chip to,
that's the
preserve.
preservation restrictions.
It's like the
Preservation
barn
restriction.
barn, we could save it for 9 months.
so,
And then it'll be,
and we can save it for 9
Yes.
months and you gotta give it right back to the wrecking ball. Because-
Or, and then, just because it's a barn, we could contact that guy that's so into the
But-
barns
But all
in
these,
Vermont.
all these agencies that want want portfolios, like Greenbelt or some of these other agencies, you gotta remember that with that property, they want the, what do you wanna call it, an endowment with it to maintain it for the rest of its life. They just don't take over the property.
I didn't realize that.
Yes,
Yeah.
There's a lot of times there's a lot of restrictions.
so. All right, so for next month, we're gonna start off with significant structures in here. And I wanna study it in detail, each segment, so everybody at the table is fluent in how this is done. So when one comes up, we're all on top of it. And, motion to adjourn, please.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.